The morning Lila Hartley's body was found floating in her infinity pool, the Hollywood Hills woke to sirens and scandal. Lila wasn't just another influencer. She was a voice behind Heart to Heart, the brutally honest podcast where love lives were dissected and secrets bled into the open. Known for exposing cheaters, power plays, and hidden affairs among LA's elite, Lila had made a career and a small fortune out of other people's heartbreak. But her final episode never aired. The teaser, dropped the night before her death, had set the city on fire. Tomorrow we name names. And trust me, you know them. By dawn, the episode had vanished from every platform. By noon, Lila was dead. Jules Carter, Lila's longtime producer, stared at the empty waveform on her laptop, heart pounding. The file, the raw cut of the bombshell expose, was gone, wiped clean from the studio's hard drive, the cloud backup, even her private server. Jules knew one thing for sure. Lila had been scared. The night before, after recording, Lila had whispered, "If something happens to me, follow the voices." Now, standing alone in the studio where Lila's voice once filled the airwaves, Jules replayed her last conversation in her head and started digging. The guest list for Lila's final episode read, like a Hollywood blacklist: A-list actress rumored to be sleeping with her co-star's fiancé, Grammy-winning singer caught in an affair with her married manager, studio executive known for silencing mistresses with NDAs, social media mogul hiding a secret family in Europe. Each had motive, each had reach, and each had something to lose if Lila spoke. Jules started with the voice memos on Lila's phone, encrypted, but not to her. The first was harmless, Lila laughing about the hypocrisy of her subjects. The second wasn't. "If this goes out, I'm dead. You know that, right?" A male voice, low, nervous. "You drop this story, Lila, or I'll drop you." The metadata pinged an address: Beverly Hills, the mansion of Ethan Marks, actor, Oscar winner, and married. But when Jules arrived, Ethan was gone. So was his wife. The house? Scrubbed. The next voice was even darker. A woman whispering, "I'm not scared of you. You're the one with secrets." Jules recognized her instantly. Miranda Vale, America's sweetheart, the star of 5 blockbusters, and, if Lila was right, sleeping with her billionaire director. Miranda's alibi? A publicist's statement. A conveniently staged charity event photo. But Jules hacked the event's guest list tracker. Miranda was never there. The pieces didn't fit, until Jules noticed something hidden in the audio spectrum of the memos. A faint sound. 3 piano notes. A ringtone. Jules ran it through the archives. Only one guest Lila ever interviewed used that tone. Colby Drake, music producer, married, known for erasing his exes from the charts and from existence. Colby had been Lila's first big expose and her biggest enemy. Jules broke into Colby's Malibu studio that night. She found the hard drive in a soundproof booth, labeled Heart Final Cut. On it, the full episode. Names, dates, affair details, hidden recordings, all of it. And at the end, a confession. Colby's voice, cold, clear. "She thought she could ruin me, so I ruined her first." Jules took the drive straight to the LAPD. Within hours, Colby was arrested. The headlines exploded. But the story wasn't over. The file Lila left behind contained one last message, addressed only to Jules. "Expose them all. Finish what I started." So Jules did. She launched a new podcast, Off the Record, The Voices Lila Left Behind. And with every episode, the secrets of Hollywood unraveled, one name at a time. The first episode of Off the Record dropped exactly 1 month after Lila's murder. Jules didn't bother with promotion. She didn't need it. The moment subscribers saw Lila's name again, posthumously credited as co-host, the podcast shot to the top of the charts. Over 4 million downloads in the first 24 hours. Hollywood held its breath. The premiere featured Lila's raw, unedited expose. Names bleak but patterns unmistakable. Fans became detectives. TikTok exploded with theories. Reddit threads mapped every relationship, timeline, and tattoo placement. Internet sleuths identified Miranda Vale's voice, matched audio waveforms to Colby Drake's private studio sessions, and unearthed NDA payoffs from the Wexler Hotel Group. But Jules had learned from Lila's mistake. Don't lead with your biggest piece. Lure them in. Let the tension simmer. Episode 2 featured a B-list actress with suspiciously accelerated career. Episode 3 focused on a renowned couple's seemingly perfect marriage, until voicemail evidence revealed their third partner. And Episode 4? That changed everything. Episode 4, the director's cut. It started with a single file Lila had hidden on a password-protected USB drive Jules found in her vintage vinyl copy of Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Of course. Inside, a 30-minute call recording. The voices? A studio director and his legal counsel, discussing hush money to cover up an ongoing affair between the director and an underage starlet, one who was now one of the most bankable faces in film. The director's name, Russell Kane. Beloved, respected, now canceled. Fallout was swift. His production company's stock plummeted. Several executives stepped down. Victims began to speak. One interview broke hearts. Another broke open a decades-long cover-up. Jules realized Lila hadn't just been recording a gossip show. She was documenting a system. A web of power, sex, manipulation, and silence. And someone, maybe more than one, had killed her for trying to cut through it. But the real storm hit with Episode 6. Episode 6, Jules had hesitated on this one, because this time, the subject was someone who had once been close to Lila. Someone Jules had always assumed was clean. Emma Rhodes, daytime host turned streaming queen, America's new Oprah, and Lila's former best friend. The episode started gently, Lila interviewing Emma at her Malibu home. The tone, warm, nostalgic, but it shifted. Lila asked about Emma's connections to a missing intern from a late-night shoot 3 years ago. Emma went cold. "I think we're done here," she said. The recording ended with silence. But Lila added commentary days later. She knew something. Or worse, she knew everything. The next day, Emma's lawyer sent Jules a cease and desist. The day after that, the public found out Emma's brand was funded by none other than Colby Drake's production wing. The conspiracy deepened. That's when Jules started receiving threats. Texts, unmarked packages, an anonymous tip that her car brakes had been tampered with. She moved studios, hired private security, but she never stopped recording, because she knew Lila's death was only the beginning. The final episode, Voice Memo 99. 10 weeks after Off the Record began, Jules released a finale. It was short, less than 10 minutes. Lila's voice, recorded the night before she died. I've learned that truth isn't loud. It whispers. It hides and pauses and sighs in the cracks of a perfect smile. I'm not naive. I know this episode might be the last thing I ever say. But if it is, let it mean something. Let it break the silence. Jules added a final note. Lila Hartley was murdered for speaking the truth. The people who killed her may not all be in prison yet, but they know who they are. And now, so do we. The podcast ended. But the movement didn't. A federal task force reopened several celebrity misconduct investigations. Studios revised non-disclosure policies. Victims came forward in waves. And Jules? She started a foundation in Lila's name. The Heartline Initiative, funding legal aid and media support for whistleblowers and victims of abuse in the entertainment industry. She never released another episode. She didn't need to, because Lila's voice was louder than ever, even from beyond the grave. And in Hollywood, no secret stays buried forever.